Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, Andrew Bartolotta.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, where we bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good in our community and around the globe. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta, and today we're thrilled to dive into an extraordinary new project that's set to transform Mud Island River Park in downtown Memphis, the museum. We're joined by the visionary duo behind Baron Von Opperbean and the River of Time, Christopher Reyes and Kathryn Hicks. This immersive adventure promises to bring an unparalleled artistic experience to Memphis, blending technology, storytelling, and of course, community engagement. So let's explore their journey, vision, and incredible impact this project will have on our city. Kathryn and Christopher, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course. Okay, so Christopher, first, what inspired you to create Baron Von Opperbean, and talk about that original story?
I was doing a lot of sculptural work with projection mapping and music, and I decided I wanted to get into building immersive experiences because I wanted to go inside of these sculptural, visual, audio sculptures. And I did my first one over there at Crosstown Arts. It was called Fish, and it went over huge. It was like the biggest show they ever had at the time. And, I sat in the corner in this dark room that just had projection mapping and murals, and I saw the joy that it brought to people, as a new, discovery. And I wanted to, it was right there at that time that I decided that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. That was like in 2016. And so I knew I had to come up with, I wanted it to be story driven. I wanted it to have a play aspect, and I knew it had to be gamified. And so, I started pitching the project to quite a few people as I was developing the concept. And I just wasn't really able to communicate the type of project it was to the folks that could fund it. And so in 2019, I just decided I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to go make something so that people could experience it and get exactly what I was talking about. So I spent about a year developing the concept. I was over in a warehouse at Off the Wall Arts over on Walnut. And, it was basically, the address is 360 Walnut. So I called it Quadrant 360. I was taking cues from, the location-based entertainment, and I, came up with the story. I came up with a character, Baron Von Opperbean. And it was like, all this I was developing as I was doing it, right? So it wasn't just like do one aspect at a time. It was all happening at the same time. And, I didn't have any money. I had a space, no money. And I did a projection mapping that was a mural. And I projection mapped it and sent that out to my audience and said, hey, I'm making something crazy weird. I need some funding, and I need some, your recyclables. I chose to do recyclables because I knew people wouldn't have as much cash on hand as they would have materials and recyclable things. And so I asked the community for both, and they turned out, right? So I raised the capital I needed, and I got lots of junk basically to build the experience with. And I spent about a year on it. And during that time, I had met Kathryn, and I tried to convince Kathryn to come on board to the project, but she was really busy with other things. And I was like, come on, please. But she was too busy. And I was like, no, okay, I'm going to get you on the next one. And so I went and I was about to open it in 2020, March of 2020, and the pandemic hit. And I was just like, no, so yeah, the pandemic hit and I sat on it for a few months, and it actually gave me a little bit of time to go back to some of the digital aspects of it. I had done I went back to the projection mapping, I went back to some of the music, and, because I was quarantined, I was working on things I could do in my own studio. And then I also started working on some AR aspects of it. And finally, the last 2 months of the year, I was able to, I set up private bookings and I could put one family at a time through the experience. And, people were overwhelmed by the experience. I sold out in 2 days. I had given all the people who had helped fund the project, I had given them VIP access to it. And so just from that little VIP access, the social media went crazy, right? And everybody was like, "What? This is in Memphis? Where?" And it just exploded from there. And so during COVID, one family at a time, I put 4,000 people through the experience in 2 months, which is, at the time, it's pretty incredible that it had that kind of reception. And, uh, it was quarantine, so a lot of people, right just after quarantine, so a lot of people were coming out of that, with no social interactions and walking straight into this multiverse of craziness. And some people got real emotional about it. It was just super overwhelming for them. And it was like, okay, I know this is it. This is it. The joy that it brought to these families, it was transformative bonding experiences, and I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm on the right track. I need to do now. All I need to do is scale up. And I spent the next couple of years trying to raise funds for it and trying to get people interested in doing another one, but at scale. And it was quite difficult explaining to people what it was who hadn't seen it, and saying that I needed millions of dollars to do it. And so and I needed the right place to do it, because it is location-based entertainment, so the location matters. And I was looking at first at the Coliseum, and the Coliseum is, it's a big project, for anyone who tries to take it on. So I looked at a lot of smaller projects where I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do a phase one, and I'm going to open a phase one that's much smaller, even if I had to do it sort of over, or like the first one, a do-over, and just make it slightly bigger. But fortunately, I got a call to come look at Mud Island, and pretty much the rest is history. So I don't know, we can segue from there, or I can keep going.
Yeah, of course. So I think that the Mississippi River Museum at Mud Island is a space that for many years was enjoyed, but now has some untapped potential. And you're saying, like you said, location based entertainment, super important. And you are keeping some of the aspects of the theme, Baron Von Opperbean, very like steampunk themed, and you've got this great some great skeletons within the Mississippi River Museum and such. So quickly talk a little bit about what people can expect when it does open inside Mud Island River Park.
Yeah, it's hard to a lot of people ask that question, and it's hard to say, hey, this is what to expect, because really, even if I said verbatim what it is, people can't imagine it, because it is something they haven't seen before. It'll be something new to them. It'll blow their minds. I mean, even though there are aspects of what we're doing that are in location-based entertainment, facilities around the country, there's no one that I know of that is doing it the way that we're approaching it. And it's a combination of play, story, game, entertain. And those four things coming together, you have like the Meow Wolves, which are very visual, very artist centric. They're like galleries, but there's a little more to it. They've gamified some of it, but it's really obscure and abstract. The story is very abstract. And so, they do that purposefully and say, we don't want to hit people over the head with the story. But I come from a film background, and so I really want to present more of a story that more people can wrap their brains around. So we are really going after that cinematic, filmic kind of quality of world. And then City Museum is another type of place in St. Louis. And really, I took my kids up there, and really, I think that's the core of the project, is that there has to be a aspect of play, right? And City Museum, you run, jump, you climb, you got kind of go nuts in there, and it doesn't have anything to do with technology, it or any of things like that. It just has to do with fun and play. And that's why people can continue to go back over and over and over to City Museum, where a place like Meow Wolf, you're going to go 1, 2, maybe 3 times. You're not going to go back until they change the facility, every 5 years or something, But then on top of that, so you got play, you got the AV visuals and all that kind of stuff. Then we're gamifying it, and the story itself is really what brings all those pieces together. And you will be able to find story snippets and move through the space. There'll be secret passages and secret tunnels, and you have to find these, and you'll have to figure out how to open the doors to get to them. And there'll be daily campaigns that change on a regular basis. There'll be leaderboards, so people will know that who's found the most secrets and things like that. And I should let Kathryn talk more about the gamification, because she's really the mastermind there. And but we're bringing a lot of things together that aren't, usually immersive experiences have one of those things or another, maybe two.
It really is an active approach. And so, like you said, you're coming at it from all angles, from play, experience, hands-on, tactile things to do, daily challenges. Kathryn, you are an expert in all things creativity, immersive experiences, AR, VR, AI, all of
Yeah,
that.
all the acronyms.
Give it to you. So, Kathryn, talk a little bit about your expertise and then what you're bringing to BVO.
So about a 9-year background in what's called the extended reality space. It's the umbrella term for immersive technologies, so XR for short. Acronym soup. I know it's confusing, but I've been doing that for 9 years, doing projects for like HBO, Snapchat, Hilton Hotels, and worked on meta-funded VR games and more. And currently like starting up a company called Creature Studio, and we're collaborating with Bevo, and also chief of games technology. Um, I'm kind of speed running it, but that's kind of a nutshell of my background. I have 3D experience, I have design, character, etc. experiences. But for Bevo, I'll be chief of games and technology, and I'll be leading with like the gamification and immersive experience layer, making sure the experience is accessible, so you don't have to bring a headset, you don't have to bring a phone, you bring yourself into this experience, in that choose your own adventure kind of aesthetic, if you will. I think Christopher mentioned there will be daily events, daily activations, secret passageways, puzzles, interactive puzzles, as well as like magic casting using immersive technology and some sort of like there will be a haptic feel from casting magic and doing different activations, and as well as there will be levels of artificial intelligence meeting holographic technologies. So think of like the holodeck or Star Trek or even Star Wars, as well as I'm trying to think of the Iron Man character, the AI in the Iron Man, uh, Jarvis. Yes, Jarvis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of like there will be that element, and you'll be using that element to also like navigate. There's two full-size ships, so you'll be able to navigate ships and go through different multiverses. So that's kind of like what I'll be doing is like kind of directing and architecturalizing the technology side in the space. Um, I hope that made sense. I can go
Really,
more.
it's really cool because you are, some of within the XR space, there are so many things that people may not come across on a daily basis. But then you talk about like these haptic experiences and gestures and such. And so if you have a smartphone, specifically an iPhone, like with your Force Touch and whatever, you are without getting too nerdy into it, with some of these things like AI and the haptic gestures and like the feel, the vibrations there and such, it's coming more into the mainstream. So it's still a very new space, but it's something that so many people want to experience. And then for you all to come in and provide a really fun experience that they can come back to time after time, I think is key. Things like, escape rooms, there's many great escape rooms around here and around really the United States and such. But you go and you sort of figure out that puzzle and you move on and you'll go to another one and whatnot, but maybe not go back to the same one. But with Baron Von Opperbean and the River of Time, like you're going into a space that is continuously moving and changing. And projection mapping, to me, is specifically one of the coolest technologies. If you're someone that enjoys, like Universal Studios, Disney parks as well, projection mapping is no stranger there. But to be able to bring it to the Mid-South, specifically in Memphis, and the accessibility to have kids that they are not exposed to world-class technology on a daily basis, let alone the
Yeah.
technology they need to
Yeah.
just complete a school assignment. And so providing access to thousands of kids that everyone deserves to dream and explore, and that will then transcend to the ideas that they believe that they can be and in the real world. So there's a lot of technology innovations there, but then talk about the community involvement in this project and what role do local artists and creatives play in BVO.
But let me address that for a second. One of the things I like to talk about that you said is you mentioned escape rooms. Well, we like to think of Bevo as a discovery because the art of exploration, right? You're exploring new worlds, and so that discovery is much more powerful than like the fear of not being able to escape, right? And so we like to talk about that. The other point is you mentioned kids. Well, yes, this is for kids. This is a social bonding experience, right? And in my mind, it brings out the kid in adults as well. So it is for kids, but it's also for adults. And it because of the way that we use technology and projection mapping, like I don't like projecting on the wall and just it being a wall projection, sort of like a lot of people have seen those the Monets and
Like those go
the
experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are just like you project on all the walls and you walk inside of it, and it's a projection. You can tell it's a projection. But the way that we tend to use those technologies is so it makes it part of the illusion, the part of the experience. And so you're not going to focus on that. You're going to focus on being immersed in the world. So that said, back to your question, how is the community involved? Well, this is a huge undertaking. It's a huge undertaking. I did it. The last one was in 2,000 square feet, and I spent a year creating it. This one, is 30,000 square feet, 15 times bigger. And, we're trying to do it in half the time. So we need a lot of expertise. A lot of creatives are coming together to help make this happen. And this is everything from set design, architectural elements, interactive elements, to filmmaking and AI and AR, XR, all those things, music, and we're trying to recruit the creatives that are appropriate for their project.
I also
And we're
forgot to
trying to
add,
keep it all local. Yeah.
I also forgot to add the game engine element. I completely missed that, but like we are integrating a game engine with projection mapping technologies as well. So for those who are familiar, Unreal Engine will be our game engine that we'll be integrating. But yeah, that's all.
That's very cool. There's so many aspects of this that are just, it is really anyone can come and enjoy this experience from any angle and then
Yeah.
appreciate just the artistry and creativity that is involved in this. I mean, it's like you said, Christopher, it is a huge undertaking. Talk about the kind of economic impact you anticipate Baron Von Opperbean to have on downtown Memphis and the local economy at whole.
So, we're expecting, we've got a economic impact report. Basically, it says in over the next 5 years, we'll have a $200 million economic impact. And that's, people coming to the experience, but also the people who are staying in hotels, going to restaurants, the people that are helping us to create it, so on and so forth. There's not an industry that we're not actually going to touch from this project, because just on the creative side, we need filmmakers, we need musicians, we need composers, we need the engineers, we need painters, we need fabricators, people doing construction. There's all kinds of folks that have to come together and make this happen. And not just on the technology side. We have this like sort of physical side and a digital side that's glued together by story. And that's how we look at it.
Diving even deeper into the community impact, you chose equity crowdfunding through WeFunder for this project. How can people get involved and invest in BVO as part of the WeFunder campaign?
It's an investment into this project. Not only is it in an investment into this project, but it's an investment into that economic impact that we were just talking about. So, I mean, the investment is we're using a platform called WeFunder. It's similar to Kickstarter, but it's not a donation. It's you actually you get a return from your investment. So I've had a few people come up to me and say, "Hey, why aren't you giving more stuff away for like the your for the money?" And I was like, "Because you're getting double your money back." I mean, what, like, yeah, that to me, and it's not just about the money in my mind. It's just like the opportunity that creatives will have in this city to bring their work to a worldwide audience is huge, and so I think that's what people should be really thinking about, what they're investing in, is that this opportunity that Memphis is going to have to be able to say, look what we did in Memphis, and the world's looking at it now.
Well said. Now, Kathryn, what puts a smile on your face when you look at the work that you're doing, both as, I think, as a Black female gamer and XR expert? And I think there's a lot that you are breaking barriers to be able to show other people that they can do incredible, extraordinary things? What puts a smile on your face when you look at being in the forefront of that?
I think like giving back to Memphis and giving back to the diverse communities is like what really puts a smile onto my face, and having like this huge monumental experience that I see as a really big global attraction, not just like on a local level, but I really think this will break the immersive experience industry. And really like focusing on these like diverse creative, even like diverse tech communities as well, and showing the strengths and like what Memphis is capable of, and what the city is capable of, and what the people are capable of. We're not just barbecue and Bass Pro Pyramid and whatever else. We have an incredible immersive experience with a rich history, and I like to say we have two big boats. We have two full-size boats. I know they're objects, but it's really cool. I like boats. But on this incredible immersive island, it's kind of funny because my HBO project I did for House of the Dragon was also on Mud Island. So it's kind of funny coming back to Mud Island for another immersive experience. Makes me believe that like not just like, it's Christopher Reyes' vision and everything, but also I just think Mud Island is meant for immersive experiences. It is an immersive destination, and it is a discovery island. So yeah.
Yeah, I think especially when you talk about the storytelling aspect and the significance of the space that you all will be in, it's great to see. So both of those boats are both of those boats already part of the museum? I know at least one is. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
So I mean, talk about Christopher, you're a big component on the recycling and using materials that are already in existence. So you all are taking space and place that exists currently and then really just putting it on its head and looking at it in ways that no one has ever seen before. So I love the gamification and the projection mapping and the AI components as well, the daily challenges. It really is going to be an experience for everyone. So where can people go to learn more about the Baron Von Opperbean and the project, the status of it in its current state, and where they can make an impact and see it come to fruition?
well, they can, they obviously can go to our website. If they just Google BVO Memphis, they'll find it. But the website is BVO EXP as in experience.com. And there you can find information about how to invest in the project. And eventually we're going to have merch and things like that up on the site.
I think what's so cool is that there's been so many incredible positive news stories to come out about the BVO experience coming to the museum at Mud Island Park, and so it's the space. It's really going to be incredible. Christopher Reyes, Kathryn, thank you so much for coming on. Kathryn Hicks, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking really about how you're bringing a one-of-a-kind adventure experience that's right here in the heart of Memphis. Once again, to go learn more about Baron Von Opperbean and the River of Time, you can go to bvoexp.com and check it out for yourself. And we can't wait to have you come on again soon and talk about the latest updates.
Thank you. Thank you.